Hey guys, welcome back to Check Sports. Today we're bringing you another NFL weekly recap video going over game by game with our main takeaways and what to expect moving forward from some of the teams. So let's get into it. Let's do it. Thursday game, Broncos-Jets, one of the toilet bowls of the year happening. Broncos playing basically on their backups, third stringers, practice squad, and they still got it done against the Jets. Kind of looking ahead, what does this mean for the Jets? They need to hire Adam Gase. As a former Dolphins fan, we made the right move and cut ties with Gase. The Jets need to do it now. Gase is a really offensive-minded coach. He would be better off in an offensive coordinator role. But when it comes to defense, that Jets defense is just awful, and he's not utilizing the talent that he has on that team. Now, going into my Dolphins, actually, we played really well against Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks are 4-0 now. It was a really close game, a lot closer than the 8-point differential of the score says. Where the Dolphins just lost this one is they couldn't get it done in the red zone. 5 field goals isn't going to win you a football game. You need to get touchdowns in this league, and we got 1 touchdown in the final minutes of the game and just couldn't get it done. Jaguars-Bengals, another toilet bowl, but the big story of the game was Joe Mixon's 3 touchdowns and ran for 151 yards. And Joe Burrow, another really good 300-yard performance. He is looking hot. Rookie, definitely we're investing in, and you should buy low if you can. In your fantasy leagues or sports cards, whatever your interest is, definitely recommend having Burrow as an asset. Browns-Cowboys. Who thought the Cowboys would be 1-3 to start the season? The Browns being 3-1. Dak Prescott, 500-yard performance, 4 touchdowns, and still lost. Dak Prescott has been putting up a show, but that Cowboys defense is just not good. There's really not a whole lot of defense going on. They got a lot of injuries they're battling with. I expect them to, over the upcoming weeks, maybe as some players get healthy, they get a bye coming up, they'll kind of get back to normal and try to win that NFC East, which is really weak this year when the best team right now is 1-2-1 Eagles. Saints-Lions, a much-needed bounce-back game for the Saints. They came back 14-0 to beat the Lions. I don't know if that says a lot about the Lions just not being good or Drew Brees' ability to come back from a couple behind games. He looked a little bit better this game, but still not his normal self. Now, speaking of a quarterback who is also on the older side, is Tom Brady. Tom Brady threw 5 touchdowns, 369 yards. He was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week for his really spectacular passing performance against the Chargers. Justin Herbert for the Chargers is looking pretty good, but Tom Brady is just still playing at such a high level at his age, and it's very impressive. Buccaneers have a tough matchup coming up this week against the Bears, which we'll cover in our NFL Week 5 prediction video, so stay tuned for that one. It's going to be a good one this week. But next up, we got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Washington football team. Ravens won by 14. It really felt like a lot more. Lamar Jackson is showing his MVP caliber form. He ran for a 50-yard touchdown, really broke out. Baltimore's a good team this year. Don't let that Kansas City loss hurt them. Carolina, Arizona. Arizona on a 2-game lose streak. Not looking too hot right now the past couple games. Some bad losses. Carolina really needed that victory, and they got a pretty tough schedule this season. So Carolina is kind of in that bottom tier of the wild card in terms of playoff positioning. And they really needed a victory against Arizona this weekend, and they got it done. Teddy Bridgewater showed probably one of his best performances so far of his career. Did pretty well. Minnesota-Houston. Speaking of a team that needed a bounce-back victory, Minnesota got it done against Houston. Deshaun Watson had one of his better games of the season, but Deshaun Watson just doesn't look like himself this year. Especially for the fantasy side of things. He hasn't been putting up the numbers fantasy owners are used to. We really thought this past week he was going to do it. Didn't break out. He got his expectations, but we're looking for a 30-point performance out of him coming up soon, and hopefully he'll get it done. Texans just fired Bill O'Brien after that poor performance against the Vikings at home, allowing another big game from Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen together, 200 yards, and Dalvin Cook over 130 yards. It was just a really weak Texans defense. And not a lot of offensive power plays are happening, basically. Good move on the Texans to fire Bill O'Brien. Who knows what's going to come up ahead for them. But hopefully they get a win coming up soon. Next up, we got the Giants-Rams. Giants 0-4, which is kind of sad that they're only a game and a half back in the NFC East when they're 0-4. It's kind of sad. Rams 3-1. Rams could have looked a little bit better. Jared Goff only threw for 200 yards. Really not what we expected of the Rams offense in this game. It was a very defensive-minded game all around between both teams. Giants still dealing with that Saquon Barkley injury. Devontae Freeman had a little bit more touches, not getting the yardage we would hope. Hopefully in the coming weeks he'll pick it back up and really kind of have some glimpses of his true self and what we've seen from him in the past. Colts-Bears. Indy got a good win, knocked off the undefeated Chicago Bears. Only 6 undefeated teams remaining. Colts started off 0-1, and they bounced back, won 3 straight. 3-1 this season. It was a very anticipated game for the Bears. It was Nick Foles' first start as a Chicago quarterback. The Bears didn't look too bad, but the Colts didn't look too good either. It really was just who ended up getting one of the last scores in the game. Wasn't really an entertaining game to watch. Bills-Raiders. Now, this was a very entertaining game to watch when we had the 3-0 Bills facing off against the 2-1 Raiders going into the game. Josh Allen is showing he is top 5 MVP quarterback in the league. Josh Allen led the Bills to their 4-0 record so far. A big win against the Raiders, who have the offensive juggernaut going on over there with Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, a really good young team for the Raiders, one of the younger teams in the league. Bills got it done. Stephon Diggs is back to his old self. He is playing at Pro Bowl level this season. Bills got a really big win. Eagles 49ers. 49ers playing on their backups. Eagles playing on their practice squad. Eagles got it done. A little bit surprised to see this one. And the Eagles are now first place in the NFC East at 1-2-1. That tie against the Bengals really helped them out and secure that number 1 spot for now. But who knows what it's going to look like. It really is any team's game in the NFC East. That division is just so weak this season. 49ers, 2 bad losses so far this year. They need a win coming up because they're in one of the most stacked divisions in the NFL. But George Kittle, 183 yards, touchdown, and 15 receptions. He had 183 of Nick Mullins' 200 yards. George Kittle really was the story of San Francisco's offense during this game. And he is someone to definitely not sleep on. Kansas City Patriots. Kansas City got it done. New England does not look like a good team. Cam Newton was out. They were playing with Brian Hoyer, Jarrett Stidham a little bit. New England just did not look good this game. I think even with Cam Newton, it would have been a similar story. Still not playing that well. Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs are 4-0. The Chiefs aren't really looking like a Super Bowl contender, this team. Yeah, they're 4-0. A lot of people are being hyped up on them. Kansas City has a lot of different weapons that they can utilize in any game. Sammy Watkins has a breakout game every few weeks. Tyreek Hill, the rookie Clyde Edwards-Helaire is looking awesome. Kansas City has a lot of weapons on the offense, but overall, they've had a couple close games and haven't looked like a true Super Bowl team yet. I'm not buying into them. I know they're a good team. They're going to be one of the best teams in the AFC. but I just think the NFC is stacked, and don't buy into them, the hype, too early right now. Next up, another Monday night game, Green Bay, Atlanta. Green Bay beat the Atlanta Falcons by 14. Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns, 327 yards. Great performance. Good performance for Aaron Jones. Good performance from some other players on the Packers. Robert Tonyan, 6 receptions, 98 yards, 3 touchdowns. Breakout player for the practically unknown Packers receiver. Very good game. Atlanta's 0-4. Dealing with a couple injuries, but they're just not as good as they were. Hopefully things will get better for them. They got a couple opportunities against some division rivals, but hopefully they pick it back up. And that was our recap for NFL Week 4. Stay tuned for our predictions video for Week 5 and what's coming up for this week. And don't forget to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe, and check out our website, heatchecksports.com, where we post awesome content, especially fantasy football related, on a weekly basis of what quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers you need to start such that on your fantasy team each week.